Every 10 years after the census, the state legislature redraws the lines of every congressional and state legislative district in Florida to decide which neighborhoods go in which district. They decide who your representative is. They decide which communities are grouped together and which ones get split apart. Now, here's the critical question. Who draws the lines? The party that is in power draws the lines. And when the party in power draws the lines, they do not draw them to make the elections fair. They draw them to make sure they win. They use voter registration data, precinct level turnout history, racial demographic data, and some other cases, individual household data to engineer districts where their candidates are guaranteed to win and where the opposing party's voters are either packed into a single district to waste their votes or cracked across multiple districts so they are permanent minority in each one. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a documented practice. It has a name in political science. It's called packing and cracking. And it has been used by both parties. Republicans and Democrats use gerrymandering. I want to say that again because it's important. Both parties have done it. This is not a Republican Party or a Democrat Party problem. This is a power problem. And the people who lose are not the opposing party. The people who keep losing are me and you. The argument that you need to consider is that both parties have used the same tool, gerrymandering, to make themselves permanently unaccountable to you. The result is not just that minorities lose representation. The result is that you lose representation, regardless of your race or party. This is so important. When your representative cannot lose, when the district has been drawn so that their seat is safe no matter what they do, your vote doesn't matter. When your vote doesn't matter, think about what that means in practical terms, your everyday life. Your insurance rates are decided by people who have no reason to listen to you. Your housing costs are decided by people who have no reason to listen to you. Your children's school funding is decided by people who have no reason to listen to you. Your wages, the minimum wage, overtime protections, workplace safety rules are decided by people who have no reason to listen to you. This is not a racial problem. This is a democratic problem, and it is your problem. I personally do not care what party you belong to. I do not care who you voted for in the last election. If your representative is sitting in a safe seat, a seat that was engineered to be unlosable, then you are not being represented. You are being managed. There is a difference between a representative who needs your vote and a representative who already knows they have your district locked up. One of them returns your call and the other just does not. I'm going to give you some numbers because y'all know I like to give you the facts. So pay attention to what you're about to see here because it's important. If you look at what we're looking at right now, how many votes does it take to win Florida? How many votes? 4 million. Florida has 13,449,760 registered voters as of 2024. As of 2024. Of those registered voters, 1,721,238 are Black registered voters. That's 12% of the electorate. Now, here's why that matters, not just to Black voters. The 2018 Florida governor's race, DeSantis versus Gillum, was decided by 32,463 votes. The 2014 governor's race was decided by 64,145 votes. The 2010 governor's race was decided by 61,550 votes. 3 consecutive governor races. The combined margin across all 3 was less than 160,000 votes. The unregistered eligible Black voter pool alone is 750,000 people. The pool is 23 times larger than the 2018 winning margin. Why is that important? That's important because the map makers know this. They drew the districts knowing that those 750,000 people who were not registered, these are these voters who did not register, you black voters who did not register. They counted on you not register. They built their maps around the assumption that those voters would stay home. And here's the part that should make every person angry, regardless of your race or party. When those 750,000 people are not registered, the map makers can crack the black community's voting power across multiple districts and guarantee a Republican majority in each one. When those 750,000 people register as non-party affiliated, if you register as a Republican, if you register as a Democrat, if you just register as anything, the math automatically changes. The districts that were engineered to be safe become competitive, and competitive districts mean accountable representatives. This is not about electing black candidates. This is not about flipping Florida blue. This is not about making every district in the state. This is about, honestly, making every district in the state a place where a representative can lose. You need to make sure that your representatives know that they can lose, because a representative who can lose is a representative who has to listen. That's why it's important that you make sure that you get yourself out there and you register to vote. So what do we need to do about it? The first thing we need to do is register. Every eligible voter in Florida who is not registered needs to get on the rolls. I'm asking you specifically to register as non-party, but here's why. When you register as non-party, you remove your party data from the redistricting model. The map makers use party registration data to predict how a precinct will vote. When a precinct has a large non-party affiliated population, their model becomes less reliable. A less reliable model means a less engineered map, and a less engineered map means more competitive districts. That's why it's important to register to vote. The second thing we need to do is show up. Registration without turnout changes nothing. The 2018 race was decided by 32,463 votes. Your precinct, your single precinct can swing a cracked district if enough of you show up. But here's the deeper problem, and this is why I am running for governor. Even if we close the registration gap, even if we maximize turnout, we are still in a system where the rules are written by the people who benefit from the current rules. The legislature draws the maps. The legislature decides which bills come to a vote. The legislature decides whether your insurance rates, your housing costs, your school funding, the overdevelopment, and your wages are even addressed at all. And the legislature answers to the people who fund their campaigns, not to the everyday American taxpayers. The Florida Constitution, Article 1, Section 1, says that all political power is inherent to the people. I believe that. I swore an oath to defend that principle for 22 years. And I'm running for governor because I intend to honor it. My campaign is built around a constitutional amendment, legislative authority for citizens. You can find it at glover2026.com. It would give Florida citizens the direct power to vote on legislation that affects 51% or more of the population, not just ballot initiatives, not just constitutional amendments every 10 years. Direct voting power on the laws that govern your daily lives. When citizens can vote directly on legislation, gerrymandering becomes less powerful because you're voting on everything. Because representatives safe seat does not protect them from the citizen vote. If you can vote on all the legislation, there is no protection that gerrymandering has anymore. The map does not matter when people can act directly. This is a long-term solution. It just has to start with us. I want to leave you guys with one thought. The people who drew the map are not stupid. They are very, very good at what they do. They have access to data that would surprise you. They know your neighborhood. They know your precinct turnout history. They know which communities are registered and which ones are not. And they made a calculation. They calculated that you would not register, that most of you that could register will just not do it for whatever reason. They calculated you would not register. They calculate that you will not show up to vote. They calculated that you would stay frustrated and stay home. And the map that they keep drawing will hold, keeping them in power. My campaign is a bet against that calculation. I am pushing for citizens to have power over elected officials by way of a constitutional amendment. I'm standing here telling you how we can go up against anything that is put against citizens if citizens put themselves first. You just have to decide if you are going to put yourselves first. I appreciate all of your time this evening. Thank you very much, and you guys have a great day.